Hey, yo, welcome back to AIW's The Card is Going to Change. My name is Ronald Two Legs, and as always, I'm joined by AIW owner John Thorne. What is up, Thorne?
Jeff from corporate trying to get his job back, keep me accountable, asking me if we're going to do podcasts this week.
Yeah, he called me in there to his office and was yelling at me.
Here we are, back in the podcast studios after a lengthy vacation. I gotta say, I know people overwhelmingly said to keep AIW going when people were surveyed a few weeks ago, but these gaps between the shows are fucking nice, dude.
Yeah, it's like once you miss a week, it's like easy to keep going with everything that, in between.
It's just easy to just start slipping into that civilian life.
Well, our problem was, I think, too, and this was one of the bigger breaks we've had in between shows. It was an early February show and then a late March show, you know what I mean? So that break in between, was an extensive break in between shows, too. So it's like sometimes, we haven't really done the review shows as much, where we get together roundtable and kind of review the shows. It's just sort of been, AIW State of the Unions and preview shows, kind of hard sell stuff. But with that big gap in between, it was easy to just keep pushing it off.
Yeah, it's easy to just not do anything because then it's a perfect time to do reviews and do other things, and then when you just don't do it, you just don't do it, and then you can go out and live life, and it's kind of nice,
I took a trip. I went to Baltimore last weekend.
You were there for like a day, though, weren't you?
Yeah, I got in and out. I had all kinds of stuff to do. I wasn't even there for a full 24 hours, actually.
Yeah, I don't know what I did. I mean, it's bad, but I really enjoy, I can literally do nothing. It's great when I can just totally just unplug from everything. There have been, I'm not even ashamed to admit, there have been, weekends in this gap where I have not even left my house at all. It's been fantastic. I've not done anything at all.
Harken back to those to the COVID days of 5 years ago, because this was right around the time, when everything started shutting down. These months, the end of February.
I just saw something on TV. It's the 5-year anniversary of everything shutting down, and it's just like, wow, that was 5 years ago already. Man, COVID really did ruin the motivation, kind of. It didn't. Because we really came out of the gate hot, and then I don't know, this nice gap off. It's been nice, again too. I did have a lot of contemplating about a lot of things, decision making, and there's just been a lot of interflection. Is that a word? Interflection? I don't know.
It sounds right.
Interflection. If it's not a word, I think people know what I'm talking about. But self-reflection, maybe, trying to determine what to do here as far as things go. And, it is hard to ignore, people saying, yeah, keep it going,
Yeah.
On the flip side of that, is also hard to ignore that we don't necessarily have the most motivated internal crew, which I try to remind people of internally, which they ignore me, which proves that they are not the most motivated internal crew. So, it is, and that's not everybody, but, so there's a lot of, I guess, different things the way, different kind of things on the scale, but, I think as long as Friday goes well, I think if April goes well, May goes well, we're going to keep the train rolling, I think. There's obviously, we haven't been really seeking summer dates too much, but I did, start kind of, fishing around a little bit. So, that leads me to believe that AIW is going to live on.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like we did get an overwhelming response when you kind of put it out there as far as, asking fans, do you want to see us go on past the 20th anniversary thing, but it does bear repeating, too, that you did say, we have to get to that show. You know what I mean? I think that's what some people kind of forget, too, sometimes, that it's like, they try to see the whole picture of it. Yeah, of course you want us to keep going on, but hey, we gotta get to that one first too. We still got other stops along the way before we even get to the 20th anniversary show.
Right. I mean, anybody that's listening to this podcast, obviously, I don't even know. The inconsistency has affected the listenership. But when we put them out, we still get at least a couple hundred people downloading this thing. Everyone's pretty aware of, the trials and tribulations of, independent wrestling, AIW specifically. And, picking and choosing, I'm going to go to that show. I'm not going to go to this show, like sometimes people will text me and be like, hey, who's on that show? Who else you got coming to this show? And I'll be like, well, what do you mean? Like,
yeah, the card's announced. What do you mean?
Everybody that's always on it. Oh, there's nobody nobody else coming? Like, nobody else coming to sign autographs? I'm like, no. Oh, all right. Well, I think I'm going to go somewhere else. Just like, oh, okay, cool. I don't think people realize that,
yeah.
When they're asking me these questions and then just like, oh yeah, okay, I'm not coming.
Yeah.
Let me know when you spend more money and I'll come.
Those gotta be interesting text to field for sure.
Well, I mean, I get it all. Like, everybody's just like, hey man, who else is on this show? Like, oh, you got Haku, who else? It's just like, what do you mean?
Like, that's not enough for you? Haku ain't enough, huh?
Yeah, and it's just like, oh, you got Matt Cardona coming to the 20th anniversary? Like, who else?
Yeah. It's been a while since Broski has been back, too. I mean, I feel like his fans have been clamoring for him to come back. Yeah. I mean, because he got hurt. He went away when he got hurt, right? And then, he hasn't. That's been 2 years. Yeah, you're right.
But yeah, I get a lot of that. It's just like, oh, who else you got? I'm just like, I mean, the roster, the people that you're supposed to be supporting as well,
Mm-hmm.
So stuff like that does make you worry because, there's only so much of that, we have internal discussions all the time about Gauntlet is a perfect example. Like, it took a long time to be able to secure Haku, and we were searching for somebody to do that show for months, and we're striking out, and it's just like, we tried a lot of different people and a lot of different things, and nothing worked out. And it's just like, sometimes it's not going to work out. And then it's just like, are people going to come when you can't have that, autograph signing or whatever? Those are the things that worry me a little bit.
Yeah, because I want to say that day, the day we were at Duke W3's that day when you were trying to, we were all trying to flush out, throwing names around for who could come. And I want to say you texted 3 or 4 of the suggestions that we had all kind of came up with and say, oh yeah, that's a good one. And I want to say like 3 of them, if not 3 or 4 of them, texted you back that day like, sorry, I'm booked or whatever. Like, we went through a lot of names, I want to say. Obviously, not to say that Haku was that far on the list. I just mean like what you're saying. It's kind of, it's a tough pull sometimes.
Yeah, it's getting increasingly more difficult to find people that are available to do independent shows with people being employed, convention bookings, things like that. It's just it's difficult. So, like stuff like that makes me go, how much more can we keep kind of, pushing the chips in? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So, stuff like that's been weighing on my decision making as well. But, it is nice to see that overwhelming response, like keep it going, keep it going, keep it going. But like, we need the fans to keep it going, keep it going, keep it going. Like we need Friday to sell out again. We need, we need Gauntlet to do very well. We need May 16th. We need the 20th anniversary to sell out for sure. If you want any sort of really legitimate shot at a future of AIW, you need that show to be a success, and that venue to be a success. They certainly want to build a relationship, but it's like a feeling out thing, right?
Yeah.
So there's just a lot of balls in the air, I guess.
Yeah, I mean that I would think that first show at Globe is a big one. I feel like the tickets have sold pretty well for it. I think that's one where we can't see the ticket sales, right? Is that the one where we don't have control over the tickets? You can kind of just check what is available online type deal for that one?
They sent me a report, and but it's only, they only have it set up for 400, and I think it's like 50% sold. So
okay,
obviously if we can sell that other 50%, then they're going to open up more space.
Okay.
And that makes us look better. And that, it's always, it's a game with these venues. You know what I mean? The days of the, random indie wrestling venue, I think, are just few and far between anymore. We, even Tadmore Shrine is getting difficult to lock in. It is very expensive, rental wise. So there's a lot. Yeah. There's a lot of things to consider. But I mean, if people want it to stay, hopefully, I don't make the mistake by, loading up the rest of the schedule. Like I said, I said before, we did have, dates kind of on the books and, like a blueprint out of the year, but, you could very well take those off the books or you can move forward. So I don't know, it seems like people really want it to continue. I'm leaning that way. I'm sure if Friday goes well, that could probably seal the deal for me, but we're not sold out yet.
Yeah, so now is the time. If you haven't gotten those tickets, I'm not sure necessarily what day we're going to put this out, recording here on a Monday, but tickets, limited tickets available for Friday. And they do have a hard number at the last show that we did there. They did turn people away, so if you have not gotten a ticket yet, now would be the time, if you're hearing this, to get on there and grab a ticket, that's for sure. I don't see them lasting at the door long if they make it to the door, is my point.
And if by chance tickets are available Friday, they are increasing the price on Friday.
Right. Yes.
So I want to make that clear. I did put that out on social media, but I put a lot of things out on social media that people have not followed. The ringside tickets have been sold out for a month, but people keep signing up for the waiting list thinking they're going to release more. But that waiting list is just in the event that, someone gets sick and says, hey, I need I think how DICE works is you can resell your ticket within the app sort of thing. So, when they trigger to resell their ticket, it's going to go to the first person on the waiting list for that specific ticket type. in the order in which they sign up. Right. So the likelihood of people signing up for the waiting list today after they've been sold out for a month and then you getting a ticket if it becomes available is like very highly unlikely at this point, I would think.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I would think there's probably more people on that waiting list than actual front row tickets available. I mean, there's only a finite amount of seats we can put around the ring. So I mean, you would think out of the, what do we do, 40 something front row out of those?
Yeah, we do way less front rows at this venue as well.
So it's even less. Yes. I mean, you would think probably no more than 5 of those are probably going up for sale, if they are at all. Even I wouldn't wait, like you're saying. I mean, because that's the thing about the Roxy too, is that place was great. I mean, obviously you're not sitting if that's your end all be all. You have to sit. I can understand, but you can see from everywhere in that building. There was great sight lines everywhere. So I mean, I wouldn't wait just for the front row because I don't see that becoming possible.
And there were some extra seats throughout, the space, but obviously it was limited. That's why it says, seating is not guaranteed with the general admission ticket. So, but yeah, I mean, general admission is $20. I think after fees, taxes, everything, it's like 26 something. Take advantage of it. That's all I can say. And then, after party wise, you get in free to emo night right in the room next door, which is typically a $10 charge, and that usually sells out too.
Yeah, those are big around here.
Well, this is like the actual big one. Like there's a bunch of
offshoot.
But this is the main one.
Right. Jukebox Breakdown, I think is what it's called, right?
Yeah, this is like the first one, the big one, the main one.
Yeah. I reposted the thing that you posted, talking about you get in free with it. And a friend of mine, because I've listened to that kind of music and stuff like my whole life, and a friend of mine was like, "Oh, you're going to go over there and do a DJ set?" And I said, "I will be playing plenty of music that night. I have zero desire to go play more music across the room." No, I'll leave that to those guys. Although I bet I could put together a sweet playlist. I'm going to leave it to those guys.
Yeah, so I mean,
I'll be there, though. It sounds like fun, for sure. I'm going.
It should be a fun night, all in all. Sandman, Jay Lethal, but yeah, I mean, it's weird. It's weird because we haven't podcasted in a while, so not a lot of like super newsworthy things to really discuss. Just kind of, what we covered in the first little bit here is, just the weighing of, do we or don't we?
Yeah,
sort of thing.
I mean that was kind of also what made it a little easier to not pod. Like we said, we had the break in between each shows, and then it's February for the most part, early March. It's still snowing and crappy and terrible. The AIW schedule for the most part hasn't really kicked off, the way it does in the summer, where we get a lot of these shows back to back, and you start really getting rolling there. Early on in the beginning of the year, like that was a little easier to let the podcast take a back seat. But I am really excited for Friday. Like you said, we got Sandman coming in, Jay Lethal. Sandman is a guy that, like, I think just brings people out, like old school wrestling fans, ECW fans. You see a name like Sandman on the flyer, and you're like, oh, hell yeah. Like, you got to check that out just for the spectacle that is Sandman.
I think a lot of people, I think he crosses a lot of generations.
Right.
Obviously ECW had that WWE run, in the 2000s. Various TNA runs, and I think he's a guy that he hits a lot of different kind of age groups, and I think a lot of wrestling fans love him or hate him, know who he is, and want to come out and see him and meet him. And it's been a long time since he's been in the Cleveland proper area. He hasn't been around Cleveland since that Wrestle Rager several years ago.
4 years ago? I think the first was it the first one? Because we did 5 Wrestle Rager. I think it was like the first one, right?
the first one in class, I think.
Yeah, so it was 4 years ago. And I mean, yeah, when we had brought him in, but that was, to the Youngstown area, which is, an hour and almost 2 hours away, hour and a half or whatever. So, I mean, in the Cleveland area proper, like you're saying, yeah, I mean, it's been quite a while.
It's been a while. So, he's going to be doing a meet and greet. A couple specialty items have some of his, he just signed that Legends deal. So there's some brand new figures that came out. Got a couple chase figures of him in the American flag pants.
That's the one I want. Yeah, those American flag pants, dude. You think anybody wants a roundhouse with these? I don't think so. It's like the greatest. Those American flag pants are the best.
A couple Singapore canes, aka kendo sticks.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good item. Those are fun. Like, that's a fun, kind of collectible merchandise item, that you just don't see. It's not a long list of guys you could get a kendo stick signed for, and you're like, oh, yeah, you immediately know that. You see a kendo stick, and you're like, it brings to mind a few names, and it's a short list of them. To have a kendo stick signed by the Sandman would be pretty rad merch item.
I literally have one, hanging on my wall.
Yeah.
In my office, signed by the Sandman.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, everybody knows I'm a big collectibles guy. I got all the wrestling dolls and crap like that. I got there's no shortage of cool wrestling merch and stuff like that. And a kendo stick is just just such a sick piece in my opinion.
And then Jay Lethal, we got a couple Black Machismo figures to be signed.
Wow, that's sick. Where'd you get those from? I don't even know where you could get those. That's wild.
Can't disclose.
Yeah, those are rare.
Can't disclose, but super limited. I think only 5 of those. Same with the chase figures. So once they're gone, they're gone. I'll have to get with Pedro and find out how those are going to be priced. But I do know that it's going to be $20 per autograph, or $30 combos for each guy. So you're not really seeing prices like that for meet and greets anymore. Take advantage for sure.
Did I ever tell you the story about the card that I got signed from Sandman the last time we had him?
No.
Oh, so good. So I got the same one from Carino too when they came out with figures, those ECW figures. And
you did tell me this. Yeah.
Trading.
How he said, I thought you were going to sell it on eBay or something.
So they came with a trading card, yeah, and pretty rare. They're kind of hard to find or whatever. And I said to him, hey, you mind if I get a signature on this card? And before I could kind of explain to him how I typically do to all the guys, hey, I try to get a card from everybody I hit the music for. It's not going to be something I'm going to turn around and sell. He says, I better not see this on fucking eBay. And I was like, yes, dude. That is, you couldn't even ask for such, it was such an awesome interaction. It was great. If he would have just signed him, hey, here you go. And I'm like, oh, that was cool. But the fact that he said that, made it even better for me. I loved it. It was great.
Yeah. So, I'm super pumped about it. I think it's the perfect environment for the Sandman. And obviously Jay Lethal is going to wrestle as well on Friday. So take advantage. You don't see meet and greets these prices really too often anymore in today's, just the climate of autographs and, memorabilia and, meeting and greeting and all that. It's, anybody that looks at any of these convention prices, you're not gonna see people signing for these prices. So take advantage while you can.
Sorry, I had it muted there for a second. Friggin', how these cars driving by my window are loud as hell. But yeah, that I would agree big time. AIW, I think that's one of the fairest. That's one of the things I love about AIW is the fairness that you always bring with the meet and greets and the price wise. I mean, especially like we talked about with this day and age of conventions and stuff. I mean, we were putting in the chat the other day when this got brought up, or somebody brought it up about the price of, I forget who it was, what celebrity it was in the chat, for signing in items, and then there was like a bulk items, and it was like or not bulk, but like bigger, bulky type item. You remember what I'm talking about? It was like $450 or some shit. It was like, was it Mark Hamill or something like that?
Yeah. I mean, all kinds of celebrities are just charging like crazy like that.
Yeah. Just insane.
I mean, even wrestling people, you know what I mean? If you look at those like WrestleCon prices and things like that, you know, coming up WrestleMania weekend, you know, it's, you know, the average price is probably $60 a guy for just the photo or just the signature. You know, you're getting into like the $80 range for, you know, combos on a lot of people these days. So $30 combos, you get both guys for $60 on Friday.
It's a deal. It's a deal for sure. I believe, you know, if we want to get into this card too, speaking of Jay Lethal Wrestling, I believe that did go out to the general kind of public. That wasn't like a Patreon only for his match announcement, right? I don't want to spoil it.
No, everything's out. Everything's been announced. So,
yeah. So, I mean, we got Jay Lethal will be wrestling. He will be in action against none other than Alec Price. Now, I mean, if you're on the fence about coming out, Jay Lethal versus Alec Price. It has been said many times on this podcast, you believe Alec Price, and I would have a hard time disagreeing. One of the best on the indies pound for pound there is against a guy like Jay Lethal. I mean, that's worth the ticket price alone right there.
Yeah, I think this is, you know, this is a big boy matchup. This is a match that you would see in, you know, any of those old school AIW cards that everyone just like fantasizes about, like, oh, the good old days, you know what I mean? Like, you can't do a lot of the dream booking as much as you used to be because, you know, times have changed, you know, but this opportunity arose, and I thought this was the perfect match, you know, looking at everybody for Jay Lethal to get in there with. I thought Alec Price was the guy. I think that this appeals to AIW fans. I think this appeals to non-AIW fans. I think this just appeals to wrestling as a whole. And I think it's a big test for Alec Price. You know, Jay Lethal is arguably one of the best, you know, to ever do it as far as an in-ring, you know, just pound for pound talent goes. You know, he did spend a lot of his career in Ring of Honor. And, you know, I don't know how much people followed some of those years, but Jay Lethal has not lost a step whatsoever. You know, anybody that has seen anything he's done in AEW, he is, you know, still on the tippy top of his game. So I'm very much looking forward to this match.
Yeah. Same. I said it's a hot one to start out with. I say this, I feel like a lot of shows, I don't know how you're going to pace, you know, where you're going to place everything, but that one will certainly get the crowd going.
I don't know either, and I've tried to book Jay Lethal so many times. I mean, for years and years and years, and it just never works out, or, you know, all kinds of different factors come into play, and finally we were able to pull it off.
Hell yeah. I'm looking forward into this card as well. Another staple match at AIW, the six-way scramble. We got Vic Vice, Shimbashi, Tyson Riggs, Jeff Steele, Dr. Daniel C. Rockingham, and Shelby Wilder are going to do battle here in the AIW Classic six-way scramble. This is another one, you're talking classic AIW. You know, a little bit of the old, a little bit of the new. You know, all kinds of different guys in there. This is one I'm pretty jazzed for this one.
Yeah, mixing all kinds of different styles, shapes and sizes, just throwing it all in there and seeing what happens on Friday. I mean, I think just, you know, this is, you know, hopefully, I guess, you know, I hope for a sellout on Friday, and, you know, hopefully it's packed like it was last time in there, because a match like this just thrives in that kind of environment, in my opinion.
Yeah, agreed.
Who do you got in this? Who you got?
It's a tough one to say. I was going to say, you know, I thought Jeff Steele showed a lot of potential in the last match, or in the last show that we had in Youngstown, hometown.
Going with the rookie, huh?
Jeff Steele showed a lot of promise. Tyson Riggs, our guy, has been really killing it lately. Shelby, always a wild card. That guy can pull a win out of nowhere. Dr. Dan.
What you did there. Wild card.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about this six-way. These are all six guys that could take it. Shimbashi has showed a lot in his debut through AIW. I think that was in the January or February show. I think he was in both, wasn't he? But then Vic Weiss, a guy who has had a big upspurts too, who can show you a lot out of nowhere. So I mean, this one's tough. I don't even know. I don't know who to pick. I think I might have to go with my boy Dr. Dan on this one though. He always seems to find a way. So I don't know. I can't say for sure.
He's found a way, hasn't it?
He's always got tricks up his sleeve, or pamphlets, or whatever you want to call it.
Pamphlets, yeah. Pamphlets.
Shelby, another one, like I said, a wild card that could come out of nowhere. He's really been on the up and up. Tyson Riggs, a guy who has really been taking AIW by storm. So I mean, it's hard to say anybody, to pick one out of these 6. To be honest, who do you got?
Me?
Yeah, who do you think? Who do you got?
I don't know. That's why I asked you.
Fair enough.
I just look at, honestly, like I said, I'm looking at this as, when I'm putting this together, I'm hopeful, trying to be positive that this will sell out on Friday, and I wanted to put a fun group of people together. And that's the purpose here. If by all accounts, we are miscalculating how these GAs are going, and it is a ghost town in there on Friday night, might not go over as well. So,
Sure.
maybe big miscalculation on my part, but I think if it's jam-packed in there like it was last time, this is going to be a great environment for everyone in this match. But again, you need that 7th participant in a jam-packed crowd for this one to, I think, really reach its full potential.
Fair enough. Looking forward to into the card here too. Another kind of 6-way, but not a 6-way. 6 members here. We got 3-on-3 in a tag match. We got Trey Lamar, Nipsey Nash, and Tyler Jordan taking on PME with Fonzie. And the way I'm reading this graphic, it looks like this is a 3-on-3 matchup here. I know normally Fonzie is just the manager. He always finds himself getting in the ring though. We have discussed that in the past, that the man is always just somehow in the ring causing damage. And Nipsey, a guy who always looking to have his team's back too, always doing what he's got to, what it takes to take care of the W, with Trey and Tyler Jordan. So, I mean, this one, anything can go in this one as well. This is another barn burner, in my opinion.
I believe the term you're looking for is 6-man tag.
6-man tag, thank you. Sometimes my brain goes a little faster than my mouth does, or my other way around.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. I start talking before I realize what I want to say.
Yeah, well, Fonzie, I guess, is going to get in there and mix it up. We're going to see what happens. Not the first time.
Yeah, we've seen him do it before, and the man is capable of anything. So Nipsey better take care of himself in there, because Fonzie comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, he was going to get involved anyway, so you might have just officially put him in the match.
He might as well make it official, right?
Again, who knows what's going to happen here, but I'm looking at it, from that perspective of, is this place going to be packed on Friday? Hopefully it is. Fonzie wrestling in front of a sold-out crowd, I think, makes for a really fun situation.
Absolutely.
Fonzie wrestling in the gigantic Temple Live room, I don't know, has the same effect as Fonzie wrestling in front of that intimate, packed Roxy room. Where you can hear everything. It's just a different vibe, and we talked about vibes and all that stuff, months ago. Mm-hmm. I think that the people that were at the Roxy, I think, understood what I was trying to communicate. Yeah. I think the people that didn't go to the first Roxy show need to be there Friday to fully grasp what we were going for by going to a smaller place. Yeah. Because I certainly think that it was the switch that needed to happen for just the excitement level within the show, if that makes sense. Yeah,
I mean, you definitely want, if you haven't been to the Roxy and the first time that we went in January. I think you definitely need to experience it as opposed to like a Temple Live or any of the other bigger rooms we've run. Just because, yeah, that experience you get in a smaller room is kind of what what we're trying to bring as a whole with independent wrestling. It's kind of that smaller, intimate feel where the excitement level it's just higher for some reason. You get that smaller building, and it just for whatever reason just brings everybody together, and just the vibes are just immaculate is what I would call it.
Yeah, I don't know if it just condenses all the energy or what it is, but it was exactly what I wanted to accomplish, when we went there to the Roxy in January. It felt like that Odeon, those early Odeon shows, some of those even, those early Winchester shows where we really loaded them up, just the energy level, when you're putting the full AIW experience inside of a show that has a capacity, you know what I mean? Like, It's just it's different than, when people are just kind of casually rolling in. No, there's no sense of urgency if they need to get a ticket or not. It just creates a different level of excitement, I think.
Agreed. Going forward in the card is a match I'm pretty excited for. A big test, in my opinion. We got Austin James, the Slugger, taking on the Bone Collector, Dominic Guarini. I think this is a giant test for AJ. I think you've been throwing some tests his way, and I feel like he's been hitting them out of the park. To play on words for the baseball thing there, but AJ has really been ascending the ranks in AIW and handling business when he's given these opportunities, and this is going to be a big one for him because Dom is a world travel wrestler. He wrestles all over. He's been in AIW. He's a vet now in AIW, big time, and I think this is a huge test for AJ.
Speaking of the Winchester, I do think, and I could be totally wrong, but I do think that early on in Austin James' career, him and Dom did wrestle on one of the last-ish Winchester shows, but I could be wrong. But I do think that they wrestled one time before, like super early on in his career. So I'm really interested to see how Austin James approaches it this time, now that he's a little bit more seasoned, a little bit more confident. And just, he's just got a little bit more, I don't know what the word, I don't know if like swagger is the word.
That's what I was going to say, yeah.
Like he just has a little bit more, cachet to him, to where it makes a difference when you're, less than a year out of wrestling school, and then now you've been doing it for a little bit. You've been in there with some bigger names. You know what I mean? Like you realize that whether you win or lose, you still kind of live to fight another day, sort of thing. Like that kind of changes your mentality as a performer and a wrestler. You realize people are human. You realize that you're human. And you kind of get over some of those fears that you initially have when you're first starting out. So I'm excited for this one. You know what I mean? I think that, obviously, I think Dom would like to probably be higher up on the card, and I think that's probably bad for Austin James. And I think Austin James has everything to gain and really nothing to lose here. You know what I mean? Like, I think, on the flip side of that, I think, Dom does want to bring the best out of people that come out of the IW Academy. So, I do think he intends to severely test Austin James. Maybe, the flip side of that of, Austin having more experience could mean maybe Dom took it a little easy on him the first time.
Yeah, right. That's what I was going to say. Dom's really going to bring it, this time. They definitely mixed it up. I want to say they mixed it up in the Cybernetico as well, too. if that's not what you're thinking of. But yeah, I mean, I would
I
definitely
feel like they had like a singles match.
I think you're right, yeah. But I think I'm also remembering them in the Cybernetico too, but yeah, like you're saying, Dom's maybe not gonna, hold anything back this time, He's not just a kid, he's not just some new, graduate this time, I
think that could severely like work to Austin James's disadvantage.
Sure.
So, there's just a lot of little different, this one could go, some forks in the road here in which direction it can go. But certainly very interesting. And, the other factor here is, I know a lot of the AIW fans probably don't like Austin James, but Austin James comes, he hails from those diamonds of Brook Park, which is not that far from Lakewood.
Short 15-minute drive for sure.
He may have more support than Dominic Garrini, which, how does that bode for the regular AIW fans? Are the regular AIW fans, did they not buy tickets because they couldn't get a front row? You know what I mean? Like, you just don't know how the crowd, I always feel like the crowd plays it is this weird, like, X factor to everything. You know what I mean? Like, there's just so much, is Dom going to have the support of everybody else? Is Austin James going to have a lot of people come out and support him because it is so close to his hometown? Who knows? Like, there's so much of that momentum sway that can happen.
Yeah, I would agree. I'm excited for this one. Like you said, this is going to be a big test, and I'm excited to see where they come out. Looking forward in the card. We have a match, another one that, in my opinion, has some kind of unwritten implications. Two guys looking to kind of get back into the title scene and facing off against each other in this one. We got Derek Dillinger with Katie Arquette versus Big Sam Holloway. These are two guys that, have both kind of been in the championship scene and kind of, contended for belts and this and that, but both kind of find their way, somewhere on the card. And this is going to be a nice match, a big test for both of them. You know what I'm saying? We saw what they did the last time they were at the Roxy. I believe, what was it, a 4-way that they were together? Or I forget.
No, it was that big. It was like
they came out.
It was a big four on. I think it was a 4-on-4 or 5-on-5.
Yeah.
I think it was a 4-on-4 main event at the Roxy, where they destroyed a friggin' guardrail. Which
that's what I was going to say.
I'm gonna throw them into the middle of Madison Avenue and not run them over with my car.
Yeah, because those guardrails are not cheap, that's for sure. And they folded that in half like a dollar bill. That thing bent immediately. So yeah, I mean, and this could be a big test for Sam. Derek always has Katie out there too, so he's got a little bit of a wild card up his sleeve there with Katie. So this is going to be a fun one.
I think both of them are kind of in an interesting position in AIW. Sam is, he's in this weird position just as a whole, to where he's trying to ascend his career. Derek is trying to ascend his career, and they're both trying to find their footing back in AIW all at the same time.
Right.
And it's I've been rewatching Entourage again because I went and saw Jeremy Piven the other day.
Yeah,
and like, I think, the quote that, once a star, always a threat applies to both of these guys, because, they have both been stars in the IW.
Yeah.
They're not in the title picture right now, but they are certainly always threatening to be.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of what I meant. Yeah, this is a perfect analogy.
I think they're both just 1 or 2 wins away from being back, back in that main event picture. And I think, win here is going to start that ascent for somebody somewhere.
Yeah.
they're just trying to, it's, and again, this is kind of like much like Austin and Dom, this is kind of like a trainer student scenario too, because Derek does help at the academy, and Derek did help with the training of Sam Holloway, and is there resentments? There's a lot of different things kind of in play here, so certainly this one could break down in some fireworks very quickly.
Yeah, definitely potential to be a show stealer, in my opinion. Looking forward in the card, we got a match that I'm excited for, a couple high flyers. We got Dex Royal taking on Mikey Montgomery. This is one I think, obviously, certainly fireworks could pop off at any time with these two. We've seen them kind of do business in a four-way, I believe, but never a single.
I don't know if they've ever done singles. They've crossed paths like a few times in some multi-mans. I don't know if they've ever done a singles in AIW. Mm-hmm. Again, this is why we need to get Matt Wadsworth a microphone and a good internet connection, so he can just he could just fact check us off in the distance.
Yeah.
Because my memory is just so bad with stuff like that. So much of that stuff just kind of leaves my brain once it happens. But again, two guys trying to get in the mix. Both of them. They want to be in the mix. They want to be top guys in this company. They want to be top guys in independent wrestling. They want to be top guys that are signed to major companies. Both of them. So. Win, lose, or draw, these guys are always looking to put on the best performance of the night. There's guys that go out there and they look for, if you want to use like a fight analogies or whatever, some guys go out there looking for knockouts. Some guys go out there, just looking to finish. These guys go out there and they look for the performance of the night every single time they step into a wrestling ring. I sense that Friday night is going to be no different. I think that they fully intend to go out there and they want to show up everything on this card. I think, they're looking at this card and they're looking at, a match like Jay Lethal and Alec Price. And I think both of them are going, why am I not in this match? Why am I not wrestling Jay Lethal? Yeah. How are we going to show up this match? Like, I think there's a lot of competition on this show, and I believe that there's a lot of people competing with each other in looking at just card placement and different things that's going on. I think this match certainly screams competition, not only among each other, but with the rest of the card.
Yeah, I'm excited for this one. Like you said, there's a lot of show stealers, potential show stealers on this card, and this is for sure one of them. Another match, usually I start off at the top of the show, or whatever, how we break down the card. We do have a free view match that usually I start with, but it was a little farther in the Patreon announcement, so I didn't get to it right away. But we do have a free view match on our YouTube free view. It's going to be Jocelyn Navarro taking on MJ Santana. And that's a newer name in AIW, I believe, right? That is a debut.
This will be a debut, yeah. So, as long as everything goes well, we can get the stream up, all that stuff. The usual disclaimers, we were able to get it up by a miracle last time. As long as all of that goes well again this time, this is going to stream. If it doesn't, this is just going on the show, and you're going to see it all the next day. That's my disclaimer for everything that we do now, because you just never know. The last time we were at the Roxy, we didn't know that we were going to stream until about, 20 minutes before the show started. So we didn't have a free view last time because we couldn't get anything to work until about 7:05. So I'm just throwing that disclaimer out there. If everything's fine and everything's going well, then you can expect this to happen about 7 o'clock.
I anticipate attempting to do the same exact thing with the internet. I'm going to go up to that nice lady and say, hey, you don't mind if we plug this in? And hopefully she's going to say, yeah, we had no problems with it last time. Go ahead and plug it right in. And if all goes well, then we will have the Freeview match. If not, then like you said, yeah, look for it the very next day. But I anticipate it working.
Yeah, but, I got to throw it out there, for those people that think it's going to happen. You just never know.
Yeah, I mean, we are at the mercy of them, and that's, it's just, it is what it is. You're at the build.
We're at the mercy of a lot of things.
Yes.
But
This is one I'm excited for, and I think is a perfect example for the YouTube preview, as we've talked about, where we're not trying to give you, just two guys we think maybe need a dark match, or just, hey, somebody's, brought up one of their students, throw them in a dark match. That's not what AIW is trying to do anymore. We're trying to put forth a match that will really bring some eyes to the product, and I think, Jocelyn is somebody on the card who's always looking to, have a show stealer and show why she should be on the card. It's tough with female talent, as we've discussed. There's just not always a new face or someone to bring in or this or that, so sometimes it's I won't say a challenge to get Jocelyn on the card, obviously, but it's not always the easiest. So to put her in this position, to really get eyes on the match.
I read all about the challenges of female wrestling on Facebook, brother.
I know. Oh boy, let's not go down that road. But you know what I'm saying.
Specifically female wrestling, not women's wrestling.
But like I was saying,
I know everything I need to know.
It was a long thread. But yeah, I mean, I think this is a perfect match, a free view match to get eyes on the product. People can see this match for free, and I think Jocelyn is always capable of putting on a match where somebody's going to say, I think I need to see the rest of the show. If that's what they're giving away for free, then, I need to order the rest of this show. I think this is a perfect match for it. I'm not super familiar with MJ Santana, but I'm excited
that's
for
the point. That's really the point of putting this out there at the free view. Women's wrestling is always does very well on YouTube. Obviously, any sort of clips, all that stuff does very well. And we are still trying to build up this YouTube subscription service. So I thought that this was the perfect scenario. MJ Santana, originally from the Texas area, I'm pretty sure. Has relocated to Cleveland, has been, training at the AIW Academy.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So, has previously trained all that stuff, and is, I think, relocated to this area for work purposes, real life purposes, and has been training at the AIW school. So we thought this was a good opportunity for her. She's super talented. From everything we've seen, everything that the coaches have seen at the AIW Academy. So we thought this was a great introduction, a great kind of way to promote the YouTube, promote everything that we're doing, kick off the show. Like, it was just like perfect storm of different things. Introduce a new person to the women's division, all that stuff. So, it was just kind of accomplishing a lot of goals here. We're always, piecing it slowly. We've talked about difficulties, on this podcast with it. But anybody that was in Youngstown saw, Zoe Sky returned to AIW in Youngstown, and we're always kind of interjecting kind of different things. And, this is just kind of another new talent to, become available and to, mix things up. But obviously, Katie Arquette is probably going to be available to wrestle again soon. There's going to be, Zoe Sky's in the mix, Jocelyn's in the mix, MJ Santana's in the mix. So there's all kinds of kind of different things, coming together. So this is a perfect way to introduce a new face to AIW.
Yeah. Perfect storm. I'm excited for this one. Moving forward in the card, a match that I'm extremely excited for. Ever since we put this one up on the blackboard up there, the whiteboard or whatever we're calling it. We lay these matches out. We got Malcolm Cambridge taking on Matthew Justice. We've seen Malcolm Cambridge start dipping his toe in the singles arena here, and he has quite a big test in front of him in Matthew Justice.
I think this is the second. I think this is only the second one.
Yeah,
because I think he did the scramble in Youngstown.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, hey, he pretty much told me, he wants the smoke. So, I mean, careful what you wish for, brother.
Yeah, this is an absolute sink or swim moment for sure. I mean,
hey, he's been training for a long time. He's been showing up to every shows he's not booked on, trying to do the right things. I don't know if this is a reward or punishment.
Say, are you punishing him or rewarding him with this one?
But it's a big match. You know what I mean? This is sink or swim moment. I'm sure a lot of people would want to be in this position.
Yeah.
Maybe. I think it's a reward. Maybe a punishment when it's done. I don't know. But, he's been trying to do the right things. He's been trying to show up. He's been trying to, he wants to be an AIW. He wants to, he wants to participate. So participate he will this Friday.
I feel like he's up for this challenge. I think he's showed that. I feel like, in all the non-wrestling aspects of stuff, yeah, he shows up. He tries to help when he can. He does what he's promoting the show. He seems fired up for the match. So I think this is going to be a great match. I mean, Matthew Justice, what do you even need to say about the lifer? The guy's always going to give you, until his last breath. For God's sakes, the guy's, he's going to give it to you. So. This is definitely going to be a good one.
We shall see. Jury's out, right? The jury's out on it.
Yeah, we will see. We got a couple title matches, too. We do have an Intense title match. We got the Intense champ, Wes Barkley, taking on former Absolute champ, Isaiah Broner. I did see Isaiah Broner put out a promo for this match, and my man is heated. Everyone knows big Wes Barkley guy. Love Wes Barkley. Also love Isaiah Broner, big Broner guy. Wes, keep your head on a swivel, brother, because Broner is fucking mad. Brother is.
What's he mad about? Let's break it down. What's he so mad about?
I think he just maybe feels like he gets overlooked sometimes in AIW. It goes back to what you were saying about, always a star, always a threat. I think Broner's a guy who, fell out of the Absolute, title picture for a bit there. And I feel like he thinks he's a guy in this company that should always be in the title picture. And I think he's going to use this opportunity to show people, why he's not a man to be messed with. I think this is a great test for Wes as well, too, to show.
I think this is got to be his biggest test.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's got to be, I mean,
he did wrestle Matthew Justice, which was a test, but he's wrestled Matthew Justice before. I don't think he has ever been in the ring with somebody like Isaiah Broner.
Right. And this is one that we've said it a few times, in the show here, show stealers. I think this could easily be a show stealer.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that I did notice, which I found odd, was, and for people that didn't go to Ice Oh Baby and have not watched it on Patreon or YouTube yet, Isaiah Broner did not seem to, like, he just, like, I don't know, he's usually like a just go with the flow guy. He did not seem to go with the flowy. You know what I mean? When he wrestled Joey Vincent Martini.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because he was wrestling Joey Vincent Martini and he just felt he was above it, or maybe that brought on this promo, but certainly seemed a little different. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe, he's just always been this way and just has not expressed it. He's never been one to talk too much.
Right. He's more of an action guy, yeah.
I was a little shocked when he put out that promo. It's not like, that was a directive from me. That was, that was him putting it out. That wasn't put out on the AEW socials or anything. So, yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see, are the people still with him? Are the people not with him? Are the people with Wes? It's
especially because I feel like
combustible atmosphere potentially, though.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, sorry to cut you off there. I feel like this is a, speaking of the crowd importance and stuff, this is Wes's bread and butter. I think he lives in the area. He lives in Lakewood, I think, or at least close to it. And Wes has fans that travel. He usually has a pretty big showing here. I think he's going to need all those fans he can get to keep his title on Friday night. That's for sure.
I mean, I don't know how he walks out, to be honest. Broner's got to have 50, 60 pounds on him.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough, for sure.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what happens in this one for sure. We also have a Absolute title match going on with our Absolute champ, Eric Taylor, first defense against Shaw Mason. Another name in AIW, you hear Shaw's name around here's, been ascending the ranks of AIW, has been around, in the title pictures here and there, and certainly a guy who wants to remind everyone, what he's capable of in AIW. And then you got new champ Eric Taylor, who knows what this guy's got up his sleeve. Eric Taylor has kind of shown us that he will do anything and everything to get a W in AIW, so
Eric Taylor's probably not going to like this, but I think that this is they're pretty evenly matched. You got to remember, Shawn Mason beat Dom at Absolution, just under a year ago. He's hit some ups and downs since then, but again, he's always a threatening presence in the Cleveland area. I mean, one thing that I think people, especially fans, don't consider is Shaw Mason is like a heavily decorated collegiate wrestler. This man could rip people apart. I know he looks small and all that, but Eric Taylor is not the biggest champion that AEW's ever had. So this could very well be a very embarrassing evening for Eric Taylor.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
I get where you're saying, I get where you're going with that, and I see the road you're taking, but to me it's just like Eric just seems to always, have something for him, something up his sleeve, or
maybe Shaw's got something up his sleeve.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying it's a foregone conclusion or anything. I'm just simply saying I'm curious to see how this one will play out, because with Shaw's decorated collegiate wrestling background, I don't think that's something we've seen, Eric really contend with much. He's wrestled a lot of big names. He's been in the ring with a lot of people, but I don't know how much of that style he's really contended with too much, really.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Shaw Mason feels a little overlooked.
Yeah.
Since getting that big win over Dom, he wrestled West at Hell on Earth, and there's a lot of debate on what West did to beat him. Was it fair? Did he cheat? So I think there's a little bit of a chip on Shawn Mason's shoulders. And I think, again, he's got a lot to prove. I think Eric Taylor certainly stands to potentially lose his first offense in the building that he won in. And if Shawn Mason goes into Friday night, throwing caution to the wind, I think it could really go his way.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be one to watch for sure. If you don't have tickets, pick them up now. If you're out of town, out of the area, obviously you can watch on our
Here's the thing, too. Here's the thing. Shawn Mason can usually garner quite a bit of support.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the Duke better watch himself ringside. I know Shawn Mason has quite a few rabid fans. That red-haired lady, she gets wild out there sometimes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You never know what Shawn Mason has cooking up his sleeve.
Yeah.
So I think, again, these title matches could be very combustible situations at the end of the night.
Yeah.
And they could go either way. What happens if West loses in Lakewood?
Wow. Yeah. That's perfect. Like you said, perfect building for it. What
happens?
Place.
What happens if Shawn Mason wins? There's a lot of crazy things that could happen. What happens if Shawn Mason loses?
Yeah. Yeah, that's he's really going to be sad at that emo jukebox night if
remember he did that emo character.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. He's going to come if he loses, you're going to see him over there with his.
Maybe he's going to wrestle as that guy in the main event.
Yeah, that's because it's like calling on his powers. Like when Finn goes to the Demon, Johnny Shaw comes out in that emo makeup, dude, and you better look out.
I don't remember what his name was.
I don't remember. I should know too, and I can't remember. But yeah, if you don't have tickets, I would not wait. If you're hearing this now, I would grab tickets. I would not wait for the door. Last time that did not work out well for many fans. They were turned away. So definitely grab your tickets. If you are unable to attend, we do have a YouTube subscription service. If you are using an iPhone, you're going to want to go to an actual internet browser to try and sign up through your YouTube, because if you just do it through the app, it won't let you sign up for the subscription. Apple wants to try to take a cut of it, so they only let you sign up. It'll say subscribed, and it'll show all that, but you're only going to be subscribed to our free YouTube. That's not the pay version where you're going to get the free live streams. And then there's another.
It's called, you want to join the membership. You must do via a web browser.
Yeah.
You can't do it from your iPhone app or your iPad app or any Apple app because it's blocked, because Apple and Google are fighting over the percentage of money that Apple would want if you're allowed to hit that membership button via one of their apps.
Yeah.
But if you sign up via a web browser and you do all that stuff and then you go back and you open up your Apple app, everything is going to show up there once you're all joined. It's going to connect right to your account. So you'll be able to watch it on your iPad or your iPhone or anything like that. You just need to sign up via a web browser. So, whether it's going to like the Safari web version and signing up that way, but it sounds crazy, but this is just the way things are these days in this crazy world.
It's essentially a one-time deal. Once you sign up through the browser and do it that way, like you said, then you can go back through your regular app you always use, with everything else all be there. You just have to do a specific sign up a specific way. So don't be discouraged that way, because it's definitely worth it. You get all the live streams every month. And then there's another tier where you get all the backstage pass stuff. You get all the past shows. I know Thorne's been uploading shows. I keep getting updates. We just uploaded shows 1, 2, and 3 from the Wrestling Eruption out at Hoof Hearted Brewery. That was a great time. So definitely get on there, check those out if you haven't yet. But plenty of shows going up all the time. So definitely get on there and subscribe. Anything else you want to get to? I opened it up for questions, but I didn't do it until right before we started, and I haven't gotten too many responses yet. I know we are going to do a John Thorne Ask Me Anything over on our Patreon, so if you're not signed up to Patreon, get over there and sign up. You can put in questions, ask John Thorne anything. You and I are going to sit down and do a little Ask Me Anything there podcast. When do you want to do that? You want to get over to Duke W3s or something? We got to have some background voices when we do this to chime in for sure.
Well, we got to see how many questions we get.
Yeah. So get on the Discord, sign up for our Discord. You can get it, sign up for our Patreon. When you do that, you also get access to our Discord where you can ask any questions. We'll answer them here on the podcast. Tons of stuff. All the card goes up early over there. All kinds of, announcements, stuff like that. Tickets go up early to our Patreon subscribers, stuff like that. So definitely sign up for that. Anything else you want to hit before we get out of here?
No, let's just sell some more general admission tickets before Friday. I would love for this show to be sold out before Friday. Would be a relief. And then if we can sell it out before Friday, maybe I'll have a special announcement.
Interesting. Hear that? Buy those tickets up so we can hear the special announcement, because I want to know what it is. I want doing this for my own selfish gain. All right, well... get your tickets, like you said. Tickets are on Dice, I believe, is the app where you can buy them. If you go to, the Roxy...
Dice.fm, yeah.
Roxy at Mahal's, any of their Instagrams, they'll point you to a link to get to tickets, stuff like that. Let's sell out before we get to Friday. That way we can take some stress off Thorne's plate. For myself, for John Thorne, for everybody at AIW, we'll see you this Friday. Thanks.
I also think if you live in Lakewood, you can just go to Mahal's and go to like a box office.
Yeah, because they're open for bowling and stuff. You can just go in there and buy them.
Sure, you can just go ask somebody and say, hey, can I buy tickets?
Yeah, definitely. I'm almost 100% positive you can do that. So there you go. It's another option.
If not, just somebody go there and try. Let us know. Sound off. All right. That's it.